welcome to CFC Fan TV. I am joined by the wonderful Rory Jennings, and we are going to talk you through the 5 reasons we think Eden Hazard will remain a Chelsea player. Point 1, and my favourite point, is the video he put out on Twitter after the game against our North London rivals. We won the game 3-2, and I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you haven't, I've retweeted it on my Twitter, so you can have a look there. My link is up here on the screen. He said, remember, he's like, I'm here after the London derby, and remember, London is blue. You don't say that if you want to leave, do you?
You do not go onto the Stamford Bridge turf, flag a victory over one of your nearest and dearest rivals.
I thought it was late.
If you're then going to leave. I can't see him doing that. And yeah, I think the fact that he looked so happy, the fact that he came on and played so well, and the fact that he was prepared to say London is blue, which has become a thing.
Yeah.
I just cannot see a man who's prepared to do all of those things and looked in such buoyant spirits then leaving the club. The two things, they're just mutually exclusive. If you're going to leave, if you're having doubts about the club, if you're feeling slightly allured by the Iberian Peninsula, you don't go on Twitter and do that. I just can't see a world in which those two things coexist.
You wouldn't promote,
do anything.
You wouldn't really promote the club, and you certainly wouldn't promote what the fans want to hear. And that's basically more or less saying, we've got blue blood. That's the sort of slogan, isn't it?
Absolutely. Do you know what? That's exactly right. So what he's done there is he's adopted the colloquialisms of the fans. That's a fan
big
thing.
Word you just used.
I've got loads of them. Stick with me. But yeah, so that is our point 1.
Point 2 is his performance. Watching the Arsenal game, I don't think you could see a player more up for it. In one of our biggest games.
He came on and he completely changed the complexion of the game, and his introduction alongside Kovacic, they just couldn't live with him. Arsenal just had no idea how to handle his directness, his pace, everything, and the fact that he came on, played so well, created the winner, ghosted past Lacazette, whipped in a beautiful cross, it just proves how up for it he is, and how, I think, to play that well, you have to be happy. I think your happiness is directly linked to your performances. And I think, you can look at that and you can make quite a strong example, a case study, in fact, of what's going on at Manchester United with Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba is one of the most gifted players of a generation, wonderfully talented man, and he can't get it right at Manchester United because he's not happy. He's not happy in the system, he's not happy there, and I think that he's probably got one eye on leaving.
And you know what, I think with
Look
Hazard,
how well Hazard played. You don't play that well and leave.
No, and I think, you know what, with Hazard, I think he longs for having good players alongside him. And I think in what we've got with Kovacic, that partnership that we're now going to see together, he would want that. So that's something he has to look forward to every weekend.
Point 3 is what a ridiculous time to leave Chelsea it would be for Eden Hazard. He's not going to leave now. We've just signed the likes of Jorginho and Kovacic, who are naturally gifted to allow Hazard to express himself. We've got a manager in who isn't going to curtail him. For one of the first times in his career, he's going to have a manager who allows him to express himself.
Yeah.
Jose Mourinho clipped his wings. Antonio Conte demanded that he track back, demanded that he did a defensive display on a variety of occasions, and he could never fully express himself. We finally have a manager and the supporting cast, the other players, who are going to allow him to flourish. They're going to give him exactly what he needs to become the best that he can be.
Yeah.
You can't leave now.
Especially now, having Jorginho with Kante. Kante's now able to push further upfield, which means that Hazard doesn't really need to worry about defending as such, or just doesn't need to worry about steadying the pace of the game.
But also, there were times. I mean, there were times when it worked really well for Eden Hazard, and I can remember a particular time when he would link up beautifully with Oscar and Juan Mata, two very intelligent footballers. He hasn't really had that since then. He hasn't been able to play that kind of game, but now he can. Yeah,
if you look at since Mata left, he hasn't really had that perfect midfield to surround him.
No.
And now I think it's the first time we've seen it since he left.
It's very difficult, obviously, because he's so good. Nobody, generally speaking, even elite footballers, they're not on his level. So it's very difficult for him to link up with people. I now think that we have a situation where this team is almost completely set up to allow the mesmerising form of Eden Hazard to flourish. He must be looking at it, looking at the manager, looking at the surrounding cast, and just going, I can't go now. I can't. Also, in a similar vein, now's not the time to go to Madrid.
No way.
Zidane's not there anymore. I've gone into another point here, but I'm going to do it anyway. Zidane's not there anymore. Cristiano Ronaldo's not there anymore. They're a team who are rebuilding. They're not looking like perhaps the attraction that they once were. Why would you do it now?
Point 4 is, I'm going to shut it down straight away. A lot of you think that because we haven't got Champions League football that he's more likely to go, but he has demonstrated loyalty towards us before when we haven't had Champions League football, when we've played some of our worst seasons and we finished 10th. There's a lot of players that would have just simply been like, okay, I'm on my bike, and he stayed and he proved himself and he wanted to get Champions League football next season.
I
and
agree.
I think and more so this season, he's now got some fantastic players around him, like we mentioned in our past point. And
We're
I
likely
think
to be back in it.
likely very. I mean, I bet all my money that we're going to be in the Champions League next season. Very early to say, but I do 100% think we're going to get top 4, regardless of where we finish.
And look, even if you're not playing in the Champions League is obviously a very alluring proposition for any football player. However, there's a lot of other things that are very alluring about Chelsea. So yes, we're not in the Champions League, but he lives in a great city. He has a great life. His family is settled here. He's playing in a great team. He's playing an expansive game. He has a good chance of winning silverware.
Even in a bad season,
hopefully,
last
we're going to go to
season, we
Baku
won the FA
and win
Yeah.
the Europa League. There is still a lot of positives about playing it. Not playing in the Champions League is obviously a huge hindrance to a football player, but there are loads of other positives that outweigh that.
Yeah, and playing in the Premier League as well is, to me, the best league in the world. Loads of attractions there. It's exciting football every single weekend. So maybe he wants a challenge. Maybe he wants to still push himself and then go to Real Madrid at a later point.
Hey.
And point 5 is that Hazard has the opportunity to go down as one of, I mean, you think the greatest ever Chelsea player. I think definitely a contender for top 5, not top 4, top 3.
Look, if Hazard stays at Chelsea for the foreseeable, or even for the long haul, there's no reason that he doesn't become one of our greatest ever players, if not the greatest ever. I think that the fact that you could legitimately mention him alongside the likes of Peter Osgood, Didier Drogba, Gianfranco Zola, John Terry, Frank Lampard, that must be a very attractive proposition to a football player. And I think that Eden Hazard, if he stays, could easily become the greatest. You know, there could be a statue built to Eden Hazard at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, and I'd love that.
It
Why wouldn't you want your statue in a stadium?
Exactly. So with a bit of luck and all these reasons combined, I actually now truly believe he's going to remain a Chelsea player. You?
Yes, I believe it. I don't think he's leaving this season. Definitely not this season anyway. 100%. So there you have it. Those are the 5 reasons we think Eden Hazard will remain a Chelsea football player. Comment below what are your 5 reasons, and if you like this video, please click the subscribe button. We're buzzing to have him, aren't we?
Love it.